Nothing like stealth pickets.
That's right.
They know we're here, though. Don't worry.
This is Robert S. Minton, the founder of the Lisa McPherson Trust, the LMT, and Duncan Pierce, who is our treasurer. Hi, I'm Mark Bunker, and I'm going to talk about the video that you're seeing right now, which is the raw, unedited footage of a picket we did on July 26th in the year 2000. We had gone out to dinner, and as happened from time to time, Bob suggested we go do a sudden picket outside the Fort Harrison Hotel. Right now you can see we're at the side of the hotel. There's a pool and cabanas beyond that wall. And we're coming up to the corner here of Fort Harrison. And this is a main thoroughfare in Clearwater. And this is one of the most important buildings that Scientology has in Clearwater. This is the Fort Harrison Hotel, one of the first buildings that they purchased when they snuck into town back in the mid to late 70s. You see one of the security vans here, not security vans, but the vans that they used to shuttle staff members back and forth. The windows are all blacked out because they wanted to make sure that staff members wouldn't see the messages that we critics would have on our signs. They were very concerned that we would interbulate the staff, and turbulate is one of L. Ron Hubbard's made-up words.
Oh, here's Spencer. We haven't seen him in a long time. You know, Spencer, there's been a lot of speculation you were sent out to the RPF.
Spencer is one of the security guards in Scientology. And we ran across Spencer in the summer of '99. That's when I met him for the first time. Bob had bumped into him a couple of times before that. But on my first trip to Clearwater, Spencer and Philip Deller, who we called Croc, spent 3 days following Bob and Stacy and other folks who would eventually become part of the Lisa McPherson Trust. The LMT was a small group of critics who banded together to set up an office right next to Scientology's headquarters in Clearwater. Now you can see the passerbys honking. We got a lot of support from people in town, at least as they rapidly passed by us. Not a lot of people were willing to actually join us. A few did. We had a few town members who would come and visit the LMT and join us for pickets. And a few of them were plants that Scientology sent in. But that's the way they work. And we tried to be cautious, but we also wanted to have open door policy too, so we weren't overly suspicious of people. Bob Minton here is one of my heroes. I am very proud to have had a chance to get to know Bob and to work with him in the LMT. Let me quickly point out Grady Ward here. You're looking at Grady on the screen now. He was our security officer at the trust. He was a guy who really knew computers too, so anytime we had a computer issue, it was Grady that we turned to. Oh, there's Mr. Deller right now coming out of the doors. Croc.
Bob, it's Mr. Deller. Yeah, right. Philip. It's Philip. Philip. Like
When we first met Croc and Spencer, they were in their civvies, and they were very talkative. In fact, they said some pretty crass, horrible things, which I put on the internet. And after that exposure, they were never allowed again to to talk to us. It was very rare that they'd ever utter a word around us, or especially around my camera. And they weren't in their civvies anymore. Now they were in uniforms.
But only Spencer went to the RPF.
So I felt kind of sorry for them that they got in trouble. In the foreground here is Jerry Armstrong, and right behind him coming up toward the camera now is Jeff Jacobson. Jeff was our librarian at the Trust. He was the archivist. We had a vast collection of Hubbard material. I love this guy. This is a Scientologist. I like this guy because he's full of life and he's got this Jerry Colonna mustache. Now, if you're a fan of Bob Hope, as I am, Jerry Colonna was a regular on Bob Hope's radio show back in the 40s and popped up in a lot of Bob Hope movies of the period, too. Greetings, Gates! And this guy always came to the affair gunning for bear. He liked to take us on, and I always got a kick out of him.
We got a whole team coming here. Look, we got a whole team.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of guys coming. You might just want to leave.
And down the street now, you're seeing the first of a series of Scientologists who are about to change the entire complexion of this event. And she's pretty gleeful about this. Let's listen to what she has to say.
I wonder where they drag these people
There's
out of.
hundreds of people coming. Your timing is
can't
so
wait. I
wrong.
can't wait.
It is so wrong. You can't get anything right, can you guys? You just can't get anything right. You're always at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Isn't that true?
Doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Your timing is so wrong. Wait till you see us. You guys can't win. You can't win.
Now, we didn't know it when we started this little picket, but Scientology's OT committee was in session, and they just got out. And here she is, Mary DeMoss.
That was sad and pathetic. You guys got nothing. Nothing. We need to keep moving along. Come on. Come on, go.
You know, there's nobody better than Mary DeMoss.
You should go back to your Nazi friends.
Chop, chop. Chop, chop. Come on, Mark.
Isn't she
Are you
delightful?
allowed to talk yet? Your
Now, I
leader
love
let you
Mary.
talk?
Mary always was the most active
Mark?
in trying to counter the critics in Clearwater. In fact, she started a foundation called the Foundation for Religious Tolerance.
You guys have become Nazis, have you? We don't like Nazis in America. We don't like Nazis in America.
The reason they're talking about Nazis here is at the time of this picket, we had invited Ursula Caberta to visit us in Clearwater. Ursula Caberta is a German government official. She was in charge of watching over Scientology in Hamburg.
Go home to Germany with Ursula. That's where Nazis belong, not in America.
When she came to Clearwater, that caused Scientology to go nuts. And they greeted her at the airport with shouts of Nazi go home. And it's a crime in Germany, of course, to accuse somebody of being a Nazi. Hebert Jentzsch, the former president of Scientology, used to go on TV all the time in interviews saying, "Go home to Nazi Germany. Go home." Hebert's just nuts.
You need this little guy to protect you. Hold back your temper. See, hold back your temper.
I think they want to talk to you in Nigeria.
This man, hold your temper.
Back to the boat.
Bigots go home. Bigots go home. Bigots go home. Bigots go home.
Get lost. Get out of here.
Hey, I know where One Stop Shop is. We have your picture on the internet. It's funny.
Yeah, big
Funnier
deal.
than hell. Well, if you were an OP, it wouldn't happen. If you were OP.
Just take the hell out.
So there's a whole lot of activity there. Steve, how are you? He's peering right into my camera.
Hello, my name's Steve.
I know, Steve. You stopped by the other day.
I know. You got my name on the internet yet?
Not yet.
You want to get my picture on the internet?
Now the police have arrived. You can see Bob here with Jerry Armstrong right behind him.
Back to the boats.
And there's utter chaos now in front of the Fort Harrison Hotel.
Come on, men, you want it?
Go join your Nazi friends. Go join your Nazi friends. Bigots go home.
And I was just trying to capture random moments here and there. But you can see the Scientologists' interests are entirely focused on Bob. They're trying to provoke Bob into an incident.
Come on, men, you tough man, let's go.
And here's Dennis Clark. Now this guy is a real piece of, well, he's a swell guy, that's what he is. Dennis Clark is the giant behemoth that you see right in front of the camera right now.
You're punching in the stomach tonight, Dennis.
You saw him whack my camera there, which turned my camera off momentarily. He was the head of Scientology's Citizens Commission for Human Rights. That's their group that attacks psychiatry.
Go. Back to the boats.
Oh, Doctor, you're still a loser.
Sorry, I'm out of gum.
He said he's out of gum. The last time I saw him on the street, he took a piece of gum and shoved it on my camera lens. Well, Dennis Clark has a history of violence. There was a book written about Hubbard, Messiah or Madman, I believe it was, by Ben Corydon. Dennis Clark went into Corydon's office, and Corydon wasn't there at the time, but he turned to his assistant and said, "You'll do," and punched him in the face. And that's the wonderful human rights leader that Scientology wanted to represent their group.
Guys, follow me. Hey, Brady.
Hey!
Stop, follow me!
Minton's very much, guys. Let's go. Minton's calling you. Let's go. Let's go. Your leader's calling you. Don't make any decisions by yourself.
One of these guys was trying to turn your camera off. You sure it's still on?
You're going down,
Nazi, go home.
Dr. Ian Shillington shouting into my camera, very proud of himself. Ian Shillington was one of a handful of these protesters who started popping up repeatedly at the events.
Here I am.
Such a tough guy.
You need me, tough man. Go home.
You pickers gotta move. You guys gotta get moving.
This is our church. You need to move. This is our town. Get out of our town. I'm talking to you. Get out of our town.
No, you need to move, man.
Get out of our town. You gotta move. This guy's been attacking our church. He's been funding attacks on our church internationally, and he's going down.
Hey, sugar daddy, take him out of here. Take him back to Germany.
We have a right to be here. This is our church. This is our church.
Go back to your mental institution.
This guy's a mental patient. He's assaulted members of our church. He's threatened to kill me.
He's got a criminal record. He's got a criminal
He
record.
threatened to kill me the other day in front of police officers right here.
Police are here now. Why don't we separate?
Separate what?
So it's not just the police who are separating Dennis Clark from Bob Minton right now, but it's also Scientology security people. You saw just a moment ago Spencer come in there.
We need to get you guys
This guy
separated,
threatened to
okay?
kill me the other day in front of police right
We
here.
just need to separate you right now so we
tell you not to say.
so we can take care of this, okay?
Here I
Because it's
am.
not helping everybody scream. We need to separate you guys, okay?
Walk those
So let's
25
just,
pounds.
if you could, help me out. Listen.
He's not going to come over
Listen,
here.
if you could help me out, get your people over on that side.
He's taking it. He's taking it for 15 fucking minutes. It's over.
I understand. No, I understand.
Okay.
But listen,
It's over. And this guy takes me over there. No, they're not my people.
we're going to separate.
They're not my people. I'm not myself. They're all by
If we could, just move it along out.
Now Mary DeMoss is trying to quiet him down.
It's our church.
You do exactly what they say all the time. How much longer are you going to do that? How much longer are you going to do exactly as they tell you? Can you think for yourself? Can you talk for yourself?
Are you
Mark?
talking for you or are those your BTs talking?
Hey, Mark, you're moving in a circle, Mark. Can you stand still?
We're crossing the street.
Money's across the street, guys.
Can you talk for yourself? Your leader's called you. What are you going to do? Every move he makes, you follow? You a follower?
Hey, Fatty, go home. Fatso.
Come on, Mark.
Go home.
Your leader's calling you. Your leader's calling you. Listen, your leader is calling you. You need to go.
You need help getting off those drugs you're on, pal.
Your senior is back.
Go back to Daddy.
Hey, is he going to pay you if you're on the wrong side of the street? Because
Hey,
he's
Minta.
over there.
When are you going to get extradited to Nigeria?
Vincent, what
That was
happened in
Minton that busted you
Yeah,
there.
when are you going to get back to Nigeria?
Dennis Clark was the only one who really showed a violent temper and actually punched people. You saw him slap my camera, but he also punched Mike Croats, a PI who worked with us. Punched him in the stomach outside the Lisa McPherson Trust.
Freedom for good people, not for...
Bob wouldn't budge. He knew he had the right to march in front of the hotel. And so he kept doing it. But the focus of the Scientologists is to provoke Bob. They want to push him into a physical altercation. They did this once before, prior to this protest. They pushed him and pushed him and pushed him until he struck back. And then he was arrested and had to stand trial.
Stacy or just Bob?
Tone 39.5.
You doing Stacy too? Or
TR
just Bob?
1.1.
You doing Bob or
TR
just Stacy?
1.1.
Hey, listen.
TR 1.1.
Get a life. Is this all you got? You guys
Don't forget to think about your eternity, okay?
Yeah, well, I know at least he's fine.
Hey, think about your eternity.
He is?
Watch this on tape. Think about it.
Good advice. Think about your eternity.
He doesn't like talking to degraded people like you.
He's a
You know?
big thing.
He knows that you've
even
taken
tiny
your
thing.
eternity and you've crushed it down to nothing. And when you find
Hey,
that
there you
out,
go.
you'll
See,
hang
now you're being
yourself,
positive. That's
you know?
positive.
I mean,
That's
positive for you. It's the most positive thing
Right,
you've
well,
heard
see?
in a long time.
Well, no, but you're not
Right?
invalidating now. That's good. I appreciate that.
You're invalidating yourself. I don't have to do you.
So everybody that was in this meeting before this protest, they were told, this is what you need to do. Get Bob worked up. Get him arrested. Turn him into a criminal.
Hey, don't forget to think about your eternity, okay?
Go home.
Go home.
Don't forget to think about your eternity.
You're going to end up in jail, man.
You're just not that tough, man.
He's going to end up dead.
I'm mesmerized.
Hey, bud. Hey, think about your eternity. Are you listening to me?
You didn't see the other part of it?
This was truly an amazing night. Now, really, I should have been following Bob all along. If I had been thinking properly, I would have just stuck by Bob and recorded everything that they were saying to Bob. But there were so many fascinating things going on here that I would find myself capturing snatches of events. But really, the most important thing was they were trying to get to Bob. And I should have just been keeping track of their every action toward Bob. Now, we found ourselves in court quite often, dealing with Scientology issues. And one of the judges that we appeared before quite often was Judge Pennick. And Judge Pennick looked at the videos of this picket. And he blamed us for the police being bothered by having to deal with this. I never thought that was fair. You saw at the beginning of the picket, there was maybe 4 or 5 peaceful protesters very quietly doing what they're legally allowed to do, peacefully protesting. And then the Scientologists came out and really created a disturbance, screaming, shouting, and shoving, with the sole purpose of creating an event. But the judge came down on us. And the police are there. They're not really, they're not breaking things up. It's a horrible position for the police to be in, I suppose. The best they could do is actually grab Dennis Clark. I mean, I think the only person that they sent away was Dennis Clark. They pulled him off to the side and said, "Listen, you got to get out of here," which was a smart move.
Stick with me, Mark. Don't you step on my
Here.
Jerry Armstrong is one of the most important people in the Scientology saga. Jerry was Hubbard's personal archivist, and Hubbard actually was Jerry's best man when he got married on board the ship. Jerry was the man who found these boxes and boxes and boxes of materials from Hubbard's life. From boyhood diaries to all of his war records, his school records, all these personal documents that Hubbard had boxed up and had been carrying around for decades. Hubbard wanted to have a biography done, so Jerry was charged with working with Omar Garrison, who was the man Scientology hired to write Hubbard's biography. And as Jerry looked through this material, he discovers that the man he idolized, the man with all the answers, he lied about virtually every aspect of his life. And Jerry did the sensible thing. He went to management and said, "Listen, we got to tell the truth. We can't go out and say that Hubbard was a war hero, because he wasn't. We can't say he came back from the war crippled and blind, because he didn't. He didn't cure himself with Dianetics. In fact, here are his letters to the VA. He's actually begging for psychiatric help. There's nothing about him being blind and crippled." Jerry said, let's tell the truth, because the truth of what Hubbard has accomplished is pretty remarkable in itself. We don't need to heap lies upon it. And Scientology didn't like that idea one bit. And Jerry got in big trouble, and he got declared a suppressive person. He had control of these documents, though, this treasure trove of Hubbard's background. And because of Jerry, the truth about Hubbard is known. So he has my gratitude, and he's a hero as far as I'm concerned. And so is Bob.
I think it's going great. They're trying the bull baiting, you know, with the... Actually, a couple have been positive, and I want to stress that point that some have not been just, you know, derogatory. See, most are like that, but there's a couple guys, and I have to credit them, they're saying things like, think about your eternity, and that's actually a positive, you know, not a negative thing. And I appreciate when Scientologists are not negative, because then we're respecting everybody's rights, and there's no fighting, and then we can all express our First Amendment peacefully. And I think it's very invigorating here. It's very invigorating exercising my rights here.
We stand tall.
Nobody home in Jerry. Nobody home in Jerry.
Bob fought for many, many years, spent about $10 million of his own money taking on Scientology. Spent about $2 million running the Lisa McPherson Trust for 2 years. He had enough money set aside to run the trust for 4 years. And after that, they were hoping that the Lisa McPherson civil case would have finished. And then proceeds from the trial would have allowed the LMT to continue.
Third Reich. You're the Third Reich of
But all the money he had set aside for 4 years was blown in 1 year, essentially, because of all the legal hassles that Scientology created. We call it the Mad Picket because as soon as this was over, we went back to the LMT and I started looking at this footage, and Jeff Jacobson was down there looking at it with me, and he said, this was insane. This was just mad. And so we immediately started calling it the Mad Picket.
It's going to be bad, man. Really bad. I can assure you that. You should really think about that.
Keep going.
Oh, Jerry, have you embezzled money, billions, from the country. You don't care about the people in the country? Don't they deserve to eat? Who's going to do business?
Are you funding the KKK? KKK?
All your friends are gone. You embezzled money.
You guys
You embezzled money. You embezzled money.
That's where you're going to end up. Hasn't got me worked up.
How does it feel to be in Stacy's pants? How does it feel to be in Stacy's pants? Well, unfortunately, the courts don't feel the same way.
How much does this pay you?
Millions of Nigerians stole money from billions of Nigerians who could have used it. And no one in this world will do anything to this.
Tough guy.
And when your money runs out, you'll get nothing. And when your money runs out, none of the women will sleep. No one will do business with you.
Jerk off on your face.
I'm sure you can.
Bobby, you didn't even know these chapters. You never even met her. What are you talking about? How can you say that?
From all those Nigerians. You're a
You
criminal.
never even knew her, Bobby. Nigerian government. You never knew these McPherson.
You're like a laughing stock.
It's dangerous.
Bob has set aside money for 4 years for the trust, and Scientology hit him so hard with lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. We were in court constantly. There was constant depositions, and they were trying to wear him down. So people say, well, why don't you sue Scientology over this, that, or the other thing? Scientology loves to get you in court. That's one of their major tactics to crush an opponent. L. Ron Hubbard said the court could be used not to win, but to destroy. And that was his order. That was his written order to his followers. Just bleed people dry, crush them, ruin them utterly was his exact phrase. Ruin them utterly.
This is it.
Minton kids, thousands of people.
That's what they tried to do with Bob. They spent about $30 million to combat Bob, who had not only funded the Lisa McPherson civil case to the tune of $2.5 million, But he had also funded suits for people like Jerry Armstrong, who was sued for supposedly breaking an injunction, speaking out against Scientology after Jerry had accepted a settlement. Ursula Caberta came to town, as we mentioned in this video, and they hit her with a lawsuit. They pulled her into depositions. It was nonstop.
Get this woman all the time. Is she getting to you, Bobby? Is she getting to you? I want you on video.
You still laughing? Crawl back into your hole.
He wants you on video so he can masturbate.
Film each other.
And Bob tried to extricate himself from all of these lawsuits. At one point he had to say to the attorney who was handling the Lisa McPherson case for Lisa McPherson's estate, he had to tell him that the well is dry. There's no more money. I can't get any more money to you. And that was about a year before everything fell apart. About half a year later, Bob actually went in to do settlement talks with Scientology. He and Stacy sat down with Mike Rinder and Monique Yingling and several of Scientology's attorneys, and the idea was to settle all the other cases that Bob was involved with, except for Lisa McPherson. Let that one continue.
Well, hi. How you doing, folks? Pleased to meet you. Don't touch my flag.
Well, Scientology had other ideas. They said, nope, we've got to get everything gone, including the McPherson case. And, by the way, thanks for coming in to talk settlement with us, but here's another $10 million lawsuit over Jerry Armstrong's continued use of a computer you bought him so he can continue to break his injunction. And we are preparing a $30 million RICO suit that we're going to hit you with. So it was just overwhelming.
Oh, hi, Mark. You upset?
From the smile,
Oh.
you can tell I'm upset.
Yeah.
I saw your face when you weren't being social.
You heard the cops.
Mitten, go home. Your mama's calling you. It's time to go home. Go home. Your mama's calling you. It's time to go home.
Yo mama.
Where's your
Yo
mama?
mama. Yo mama.
Your mother proud of you, man? What'd you do to your mother? What'd you do to your mother? Very proud. What crimes do you have?
His mother institutionalized him.
Yeah?
That's right. Very proud of me. His mother institutionalized him.
What'd you do
My
to
mother
her?
is very proud.
Your mother abandoned you? Your mother abandoned you?
His mother institutionalized him. And that was after she dropped him on his head. Hey, Bob, your circle's getting a little shorter.
You know, I think I need to stand in front of the police, you know, giving you guys.
You need the protection, don't you, buddy?
I'm afraid of you guys.
Yeah.
Cognition.
Hey, don't crowd me, boy.
No. Whoops.
Oops.
Sorry, Jerry.
You know, after years of being followed everywhere, of having PIs following his children, of not being able to go on a vacation without arriving on an island and finding the beach littered with flyers denouncing Bob and in the trashiest way, Bob had all he could take. So Bob came to a settlement and decided to talk about some of the things that happened in the Lisa McPherson case that perhaps weren't kosher. There was another $750,000 that Bob had given to the Lisa estate to handle the case that didn't get reported to the probate court, that had been put in the attorney's private accounts and mixed with his own personal funds. Bob, produced those checks for Scientology in exchange for having all of their lawsuits called off of him. And he testified against the estate. And it wasn't an easy choice for him, but it really was. His back was up against the wall. And he had felt betrayed by so many of his former friends, like this attorney that he had funded. He had lost the will to fight. And I can't tell you how hard those attacks from friends are.
Did you have to pay for the abortion, Bob?
Scientology is the abortion that I'm working on paying for.
So ultimately, the Lisa McPherson civil case wound up being settled, as it would have if Bob had never invested a cent into the case. The attorney for the estate would never have been able to proceed with the case if Bob hadn't made it financially possible for him to hire all the experts and carry on against Scientology's assaults. So it ended up where it would have if Bob had never entered the scene and the estate reached a settlement which was sealed, so nobody knows how much it was. And the truth about what happened to Lisa McPherson is still out there. I mean, there have been so many press reports about her death. All of the court records have been online. You can see all the police reports. We know what happened to Lisa in this hotel. It was a horrible, horrible situation. Lisa McPherson was a beautiful woman. She was 37 years old when she died. And she had been in Scientology for, I believe, 17 years. And was from Texas. And hadn't been home to visit her mom for quite some time. She was a devout Scientologist. Well, then in November of 95, she called her mom and she called a friend back home and said, I'm coming home for Christmas. And the family was elated. She indicated that she was leaving Scientology. Shortly after that, Lisa was involved in a car accident. A minor fender bender, just blocks away from this hotel. And when the paramedics arrived on the scene, Lisa had stripped off all of her clothing and was walking down the street naked. And the female paramedic came over to her and said, "Why are you doing this?" And she told the paramedic that she needed help. She needed somebody to listen to her. So the paramedics took her to the Morton Plant Hospital, which was just a couple blocks farther down the street. And they checked her into the hospital, and the doctor wanted to put her in the under psychiatric evaluation. And she was there for an hour before 10 Scientologists found her, including Mary DeMoss, who you can see walking with Bob right now. Mary was one of the 10 who came into the hospital and talked Lisa McPherson into signing herself out of the hospital against the doctor's orders. But the Scientologist assured the doctor that they would watch over Lisa and take good care of her. Well, they took her back to this hotel and they locked her up in a room for 17 days and nights, kept her under baby watch, as they called it, the introspection rundown, kept her under guard. No one was allowed to talk to her. They force-fed medication to her through a turkey baster. And she was going insane. She had a psychotic break. And she was barking like a dog. She was convinced that she was L. Ron Hubbard. She was smearing her feces on the walls and actually was eating her own feces. This was a woman in serious trouble, serious distress, and she needed care. And the Scientologists who were watching over her recorded all of these daily events in the Baby Watch logs. And the logs show her deterioration over the course of those 17 days. And then in those last days, those logs disappeared. So who knows what horrors she went through in those final days. But those documents were destroyed. Marty Rathbun, who was a high-level exec in Scientology just recently, admitted that he ordered the destruction of some of these records. And the people who were watching over Lisa McPherson were whisked out of the country, and they were never interviewed by the police. This is no way for any church to behave. So Lisa McPherson was in horrible shape, and on that last day, they threw her into a van. They didn't call an ambulance. They put her in a Scientology van and tried to race her to a hospital to see a doctor, but they didn't go 2 blocks away to the Morton Plant Hospital. They didn't go to 2 or 3 other hospitals that were close by. Instead, they drove 40 miles away to a hospital where a Scientology doctor was on call. They arrived there, and the doctor was mortified, as Lisa was dead on arrival. And that doctor got into a heap of a lot of trouble. As did another woman who was a doctor in another state, but not licensed to practice in Florida. And she was the one who was force-feeding these medications. So Lisa died on December 5th, 1995. And every year there are people who remember Lisa. As I'm recording this, it's now December 6th, 2009. Just yesterday, anonymous members all over the world took to the streets outside Scientology orgs, and they held their own memorials for her. Lisa is not forgotten. Lisa is one of the big reasons why I and many other people speak out about Scientology. Now, did Scientology kill her? Did those Scientologists who were watching over her kill her? Well, I think Scientology is responsible for her death. I think Lisa would still be alive if she had gotten the proper care and treatment she needed. And the individuals who were looking after her, I think they really cared about Lisa. They wanted to help Lisa. They wanted her to get better. And they were doing what L. Ron Hubbard told them to do. L. Ron Hubbard's techniques are supposedly flawless. If you do what Hubbard says, 100% standard tech, everything should be fine. And these people were trying to help Lisa. But it was nonsense. It was gibberish. It's garbage. Nothing that they were doing for Lisa could have saved her. So Scientology still has a lot to answer for as far as I'm concerned. There's Ben Shaw. Ben Shaw is an interesting fella. This is the unhappiest man ever captured on film. You never saw a smile come close to Ben Shaw. He's the balding fella there.
Hey, did you get a good shot of me? I don't think you got yet.
Well,
so
I'm more
maybe...
interested in Ben Shaw right now.
You are? How come? I'm so much prettier than him.
You are. Would you go
You know? Well, I got to think about that.
Is she prettier?
Kuberta, I said hi. I want to meet you tomorrow, and hopefully you say yes. Could you tell her that?
Let's go back to Ben here. Ben worked for OSA, and he was in charge of a lot of nasty projects.
I think we met at the airport. Do you remember me?
And Ben, I used to take great delight in seeing Ben.
Yeah, but I'm actually disappointed that...
It looks like Ben got a lot of abuse inside Scientology. He must have been hearing from David Miscavige, who we now know has a reputation for brutality, for slapping and beating his staff members. I'm sure Ben got a lot of abuse, and he eventually blew. Just like Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder, these high-level executives who suffered at the hands of David Miscavige, the current leader of Scientology. Ben Shaw had enough, and he blew. He left Scientology. To blow Scientology is to leave in an unofficial way. If you're a staff member in Scientology, they want you to do what's called routing out, which can take months for you to do. I mean, it could be literally 6 or 9 months of every day, getting on the e-meter, confessing your crimes, looking for any negative stuff that you might have thought or done. They want to make sure that you're not going to go to the press. They don't want you causing trouble for Scientology. So they're working you over every single day, trying to convince you to stay. You should just be able to walk out the door, for God's sakes. It shouldn't be difficult. I've had enough. Thank you very much. Maybe someday I'll come back. If not, good luck to you. And the door should be open if you want to come back. That's not the way it is with Scientology. If you don't go through that routing out process, you face being declared a suppressive person. A suppressive person is somebody in Scientology's eyes who is pure evil. Somebody who's trying to stop Scientology. And there could be no higher crime than trying to suppress Scientology from taking over the planet. They want to clear the planet. That means getting every single person here in Scientology on the bridge to total freedom, get you on the cans, get you auditing, get you paying for all those expensive courses, fall in line with L. Ron Hubbard's teachings. I suppose in some way all religions want to convert people. You know, they're missionaries looking for new Christians or Mormons. You know, it's not unique to Scientology, but Scientology is unique in that they use a lot of deception in recruiting people. They'll give you a personality test, or you'll meet them at a drug rehab program, or maybe a marketing seminar for your business. There are all sorts of avenues for you to bump into Scientology and get lured into Scientology. And you can find yourself engaged with them and even taking courses without realizing, hey, wait a minute, I'm in Scientology. How'd this happen? It's rather an amazing group. Anyway, if you don't route out properly, you be declared a suppressive person, and you face disconnection then. If you're declared an SP, that means that your family members, your friends, you know, they won't be able to talk to you anymore. Or they'll be declared a suppressive person. So that's going to be very scary, because in Scientology, it's kind of an insular world. If you've got a business, quite often your customers are going to be Scientologists or your clients. And everybody in the office working for you or with you is a Scientologist. So if you get declared, you may lose your business. You may lose all your clients. You may lose your staff. And they may actively work to destroy your business. It's a scary thing. Families are split up. I mentioned Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder, Blue. Well, their wives divorced them. They stayed in Scientology. That happens a lot, where somebody decides that Scientology is more important than the loving relationship that I've established. So they abandon their husband or wife or children and write a letter saying, I never want to talk to you again until you decide to get back into the good graces of Scientology. So these are some of the abuses that we speak out about. That's why Bob and Grady and Jerry Armstrong and Duncan Pierce were out there protesting. And it didn't matter that there was maybe 50 Scientologists trying to shut us down. We still held our ground and said, this isn't right. This has got to stop. You can believe in Xenu. You can believe in auditing. You can believe in L. Ron Hubbard's tech, even though Hubbard most likely didn't believe much of it himself. But you can't abuse people. You shouldn't lie to them. You shouldn't force people to split from their families. And Bob tried very hard to put an end to those abuses. And his work lives on in videos like this. And I thank you for watching, and keep checking back at Xenu TV, because we'll keep producing more videos. See you there.
Okay. At least we have one respected member of the community that the Presbyterian Church doesn't mind parking in their parking lots.
Hey, Bobby, come on, you know you burned the Presbyterian Church down in a second.
Yeah, we won't leave till they're all done. They all show up here.
Thank you, officers. No, this is tough for you.